The Congresswoman claimed that those of us who want to stop boys from going into girls' locker rooms will soon be giving everyone who goes into the locker room genital exams.
We're seeing here, in this guise, under the guise of not only trying to further marginalize trans women and girls, we are talking about opening up all women and girls to genital examinations when they are underage.
That's right.
Potentially just because someone can point to someone and say, I don't think you're a girl.
This almost brings a tear to my eye. We can all witness the very moment a hoax gets its wings. But of course, Congresswoman, letting peeping Toms into girls' locker rooms isn't perverted at all. Anyone against it is the pervert, because they're going to have to make everyone undress. No one actually knows who's a boy or a girl without seeing them completely naked. Tom, who's been at the school since kindergarten and who's grown his hair out and wants to play field hockey, varsity, has so scrambled our ability to see gender that we're just going to have to make everyone who wants to play field hockey strip so we can check their genitals before naming our starters. Again, typical left-wing hoax. Accuse you of what they're guilty of. Guys invading girls' locker rooms aren't the perverts. It's the people trying to stop it.
So I'm going to preface this whole thing by saying I do not support AOC at all. I think she's dumb. I think she's a dingbat. I think she belongs nowhere but right back behind that bar where she made overpriced apple martinis for the rich and powerful and corrupt, okay? But what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Hey, I can't even believe I'm putting myself in this kind of position right here because I already know the backlash it's going to cause. People are going to be like, well, why are you supporting her then? Why are you supporting her? I'm not. What I'm doing here is I'm pointing out an obvious lie, a smear campaign, and I hate when this happens. This is why I don't like Fox News. I don't like CNN. None of them, really. I like independent content creators. I like independent journalists. I like people that get out there, even if they have just a camera phone, and ask questions and talk to people that know, not, just paint a picture and smear it across social media, which is exactly what Jesse Waters did. Now, again, AOC, she says some loopy shit all the time and does loopy shit all the time. But in this particular situation, we're going to dissect this 3-minute video, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what was said and call out the dumb shit she says at the same damn time. All right? It's only fair for all parties involved. This shit happens around election time. I hate it. I hate it. It's tit for tat. It's like whataboutisms. I cannot stand when you have a situation that Democrats are caught with their pants down and then they want to bring Trump up. I hate that shit. It's stupid. It makes no damn sense whatsoever. But we're going to roll this shit right here.
I've spent a decent amount of my time here in Congress sitting through panels and hearings of men attempting to restrict the rights of women and telling us that it's for our own good. But I want to dive a little bit more deeply into why this issue, targeting trans women in sports, is particularly problematic, not just for trans girls, but for all of us. We're here today because there's a proposal here, and there are several proposals here, to further marginalize trans women in sports. And I think about this all the time because trans people in the United States doesn't even exceed 1% of our population, and yet there is so many resources and energy and time dedicated to figuring out how we can more finely exclude them from our sports.
First of all, nobody is trying to exclude them from sports. We're simply trying to keep them in the genre where they belong, okay? What they're assigned at birth is what they are. I don't care. We don't need to sit here and go about the trans issue. It's not even an issue, okay? It's not an issue. No one's trying to keep them out of sports. We're trying to keep boys out of women's sports, okay? It's not science. This is lunacy, not science. All it takes is a little bit of shred of common sense and you would know. But we're lacking in that area. And I don't know how it come to this, but it did. And there it is. Clear that shit up right there.
And I thought, why? Why so much effort and dedication on such a tiny portion of the U.S. population when there virtually is no major issue that is precipitating?
Well, how about the sexual assaults? how about the women in general? Now, you guys say we live in a democracy, right? Do you know what a democracy is? A democracy, and let me go ahead and illustrate to you, okay? 50 plus 1. That's a democracy. And if you think that a vast majority of women are okay with being in the women's facilities and all of a sudden this man comes walking in with a wig, if you think that they're like, oh, welcome, you could use that stall over there. And we have seen these cases multiple times. So it is a bigger issue than you're making it out to be. But again, we need to stop going in that direction and let's stick to what we're talking about here. Okay, we're talking about high school students, trans people in areas of sports where they don't belong. That's what we're talking about here.
And started to realize that a lot of these proposals here involve invasion of privacy.
Exactly. Invasion of privacy. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about right here. Now, go back to remember what Jesse Waters was talking about. She clearly does not support this, okay? And she shouldn't. There shouldn't be genital examinations. I mean, Jesus Christ, we already know there's physicals that you have to take if you want to get, I mean, I remember when I was in high school football, I had to have my nuts grabbed by another man and told to cough.
Ms. Goss-Graves, can you tell us a little bit about what sex testing looks like for youth in states with trans athletic bans?
It's terrible. It's terrible. In some states, any individual could challenge whether someone is a girl enough to play. In some states, it requires actual genital verification, which is shocking. And there aren't, it's not as if they're...
And let me just stop you right there. You said there are some proposals. I mean, we've seen this in Ohio. There was a proposed ban on trans athletes that originally allowed for genital examinations on minors in order to, quote unquote, protect women. Is that correct?
Unfortunately, yes.
And so we're seeing here, in this guise, under the guise of not only trying to further marginalize trans women and girls, we are talking about opening up all women and girls to genital examinations when they are underage.
You don't need a genital examination to tell the difference between a boy and a girl. If you're down in your boxer shorts and you got balls hanging down there, hey, you're not playing. Get the hell out of here.
Potentially just because someone can point to someone and say, I don't think you're a girl.
What are you talking about? What?
And we're saying this in an environment of a post-Dobbs America where states are criminalizing access to abortion and want nothing more than data on women to figure out who's getting a menstrual cycle, who doesn't have one. And we're supposed to believe that this is going to make us better?
No, it's not. The only thing that's going to make us better is to stop going along with this insane narrative that a boy who's been convinced somewhere down the line that he could be a girl if he wants to, we need to address that. This is not reality. This is delusion. Why in the hell do, and like she said earlier, it makes up less than 1% of the population. Great. Why are we fighting tooth and nail to push this less than 1% into the mainstream?
I think not. And per usual, I don't believe we're sitting here in a panel of men that has actually thought about the biology and privacy consequences of all women, trans or cisgender here. Ms. Goss-Graves, in addition to that, are there certain groups more likely to face discrimination under these bans? When it comes to, and what you were speaking to, particularly when it comes to black women and girls?
As I said earlier, she's a dingbat and she says all kinds of dumb shit, but clearly she does not support this. So Jesse Waters, the picture that he painted was like, okay, you see these two right here? They're pushing for this, but they're calling us the perverts because we want to keep them out of the women's bathroom. That's not what's being said here. So Jesse Waters, I think you should run an apologetic campaign because it's the right thing to do. I don't like AOC. I'm not a big fan of Democrats at all, and I'm not with this woke bullshit, but at the same time, right is right and wrong is wrong.